Hi, my name is Justin Lara. This presentation is my on-demand travel proposal for a fictitious company, Patriot Aggregates. The company currently spends over 750 hours a year traveling, and this will soon increase to over 875 with the planned expansion into Afton, Oklahoma. With the growing demand for travel solutions, it is clear Patriot Aggregates needs an alternative to the airlines. On-demand aviation is an effective solution allowing for increased flexibility, increased productivity, and less nights away from home. Objectives of this proposal are to 1. Cut travel time by over 550 hours. This in turn allows for increased productivity and reduced travel costs, ultimately resulting in more revenue. 2. Show the relationship between aircraft costs and their value. 3. Find the aircraft that best fits the needs of the company. And 4. Provide the estimated annual cost of various on-demand solutions. As you can see, while the difference between a turboprop like the King Air 350i and a jet like the Citation Sovereign Plus is minuscule, having some sort of on-demand aviation option would save the company tons of time. Travel time is reduced by 75% with just a turboprop, and these times can be further increased with a jet. This is because airports closer to our facilities could be used, preventing the need to travel to and from airports offering airline services. Additional time savings are found in not needing to go through security and not needing to wait to board at the airport or baggage claims. With the on-demand option, the company as a whole will travel over 114,000 miles a year, and while considering the expansion, 120,000 miles. The COO accounts for roughly a quarter of these miles. Market analysis shows a direct relationship between the cost of an aircraft, its value to the organization, and utilization hours. I chose 4 examples with a wide range of capabilities and prices. 2 of them, the Piper M600 and the Beechcraft King Air 350i, are turboprops, and the other 2, the Citation Sovereign Plus and the Gulfstream G280, are jets. This is a price comparison of the 4 examples. The 4 aircraft selected vary greatly in terms of price, with the jets on the high end of the scale and turboprops on the low end. The relative value takes into account 3 important specifications of the aircraft that ultimately result in increased savings: speed, range, and cabin volume. Going faster results in getting to the destination quicker and reduced utilization hours. This means more time can be spent on other things and the aircraft will require less maintenance. The same goes for range, as it will require less stops to refuel throughout the trip. Greater volume allows for transportation of more people or other items in one flight instead of needing more trips. The more an aircraft costs, the higher its relative value. Again, we can see a trend when compared to price and relative value of the aircraft. The more an aircraft costs, the higher the relative value and less the aircraft will need to be used. Utilization hours is directly dependent on the speed of the aircraft. These are some other important specifications to consider when purchasing an aircraft. As you can see, the data for each category typically improves as we move from the cheapest aircraft on the left to the most expensive on the right. We already discussed cruise speed, range, and cabin volume when discussing relative value. Seating is important because more people on board means less trips required. However, also grouped with seating is how many pilots are required to operate the aircraft. With the turboprops, only 1 pilot is needed, while the jets require 2. All of the aircrafts can seat 9 additional passengers except for the Piper M600, which only holds 4. Payload is important because this explains how much weight, such as people or luggage, can be carried. These numbers are assuming the aircraft is taking off with full tanks. Decreasing the fuel tanks would allow for more additional weight, but would decrease range. Altitude is important because it allows for more routine operations, with traffic and weather being less of an issue. Sea level takeoff is the distance the aircraft needs to take off at sea level pressure. This is a major downside to a bigger aircraft, as it requires a greater distance to land, resulting in more limitations on which airports they could use. Fixed costs of the aircraft is a total of costs such as insurance, crew salaries, crew training, a hangar, and other services required for operation of the aircraft. With a bigger plane, the fixed costs increase. Trip time is important because time is money, and less time wasted traveling means more time to make money. The G280 trip time is about half that of the M600. And finally, trip costs show that with a bigger plane, operating costs for each trip are greater. The selection matrix was used to determine which aircraft best fits the needs of the company. Inputs are based on interviews with Patriot aggregates to find what the company is looking for in an aircraft. While the company has money to invest in an aviation department up front, they are looking for a realistic price. The highest priority for the company is to make the necessary importance now in return for savings down the road. The Sovereign Plus or similar aircraft would best meet the needs of the company due to the high purchase price and cost of operation for larger jets and a low value factor for turboprops. The company intends to pay for the aircraft up front, taking financing costs out of the cost of operation. The cost of operation is dependent on two factors: variable costs and fixed costs. Variable costs are costs that are dependent on utilization, such as fuel, while fixed costs are constant, such as insurance or a hangar. The chart also adds other on-demand aviation options other than full ownership and in-house operation. A 1/16 fractional ownership is unrealistic as it fails to meet the company's travel demands. The turboprops require far more hours of utilization. The jets closely compare with a chartered aircraft but have increased flexibility. While not preferred, a chartered aircraft is a viable alternative if needed. These are the variable and fixed costs of the aircraft broken down. Fixed costs are depicted with total projected annual cost, and variable costs are depicted with projected cost per hour of utilization. Jets clearly cost much more to operate, but this analysis does not account for how much savings they would produce. A flight operations manual should be made to ensure everyone at Patriot Aggregates is on the same page when it comes to the aviation department. It is an agreement between the department and executive setting expectations. Among other topics in the Flight Operations Manual are safety management system, standard operating procedures, and scheduling and operation restrictions, and organizational structures. The safety management system is a formal method of ensuring the highest level of safety and consists of 4 components: safety policy, safety risk management, safety assurance, and safety promotion. Standard operating procedures bridge the gap between regulations and procedure. It spells out exactly how tasks should be completed to ensure all employees operate in the same manner. Scheduling and operating restrictions should exist to fill the gaps left by regulations. While aviation is a highly regulated industry, these regulations are broad and don't necessarily reflect the flight crew, weather, and specific operational situations. With this being the first aircraft the company is purchasing, an organizational structure typical of small flight departments is the best fit. The CEO is the highest ranking person at Patriot Aggregates and is the highest level decision maker within the company. The chief pilot is not an aviation manager, but is the most experienced pilot. He has a direct line of communication with the CEO. The safety manager could be filled by another person within the aviation department. They are responsible for safety management systems. Also, they have a direct line of communication with the CEO as well. Administration and schedules. They provide administrative support to the department. Technicians are responsible for maintenance other than large inspections or specialized maintenance required. This could and is commonly subcontracted out. Pilots are obvious, they fly the aircraft. These are my references used within the proposal. And this concludes my proposal presentation. Thank you for watching.